This could go one or two ways. I don't know. We're gonna see. Hello everyone, my name is Heather and welcome to the channel Bookables. Today I'm doing a video that I really want to get a rare setting for my dog. I never know how some videos are gonna go, and this is one of them because today, as you can tell by the title, I'm talking about authors that I don't read books from anymore. Authors, I guess you could say, I don't really enjoy. Now, of course, let's just go ahead and cut right to the disclaimer because, of course, we're gonna have one. So, just know that if I talk about an author that today that you love and adore and you love their books, that is awesome. I am happy for you. I'm not saying these are like horrible books. They were not the best to me, but that doesn't mean that they're horrible. You know what I'm saying? Everyone's got different opinions, tastes, and things like that. If you love these authors and you follow their works and you love their books, I think that's awesome. I think that's great. They're all very successful. All the authors I'm talking about today, they're just not for me, and that's okay. There are some directors that are not for everybody. There's some musicians that are not for everybody. There's some actors, you know, it's kind of the same thing. I don't know. I just wanted to film this because there's authors. I know we all have, and we all have authors that we just are just like, their books are just not for me, and these are these authors. I'm not saying they're bad authors. I'm not saying they have horrible books. They're just not for me, and that is totally okay to say. Like I said, if you love these books, these authors, I think that's great. I think that's awesome. I'm happy for you. I truly am. They're just not my cup of tea. That's all I'm saying. So with that disclaimer out of the way, I have a few authors, like maybe 4 or 5 that I've read a good majority of their books. I have not enjoyed a good majority of their books, so I'm kind of like hanging up my hat on them. I'm good, I'm done. I think I'll be okay if I don't read any of their books anymore. First up, one that we all know. Let's just get it off the bat. Ruth Ware. I have talked about my love-hate relationship with Ruth Ware for a long time. I have read 6 of her books. So it's fair to say that I've given her a lot of opportunities, and I just haven't enjoyed the majority of her books. So with all of these, I'm going to tell you all the books I've read and things like that. So the books I have read, the first one I think I ever read from her was In a Dark, Dark Wood, and that is my least favorite book of hers by all time. I do not like that book whatsoever. I don't. Then we have The Woman in Cabin 10. I actually did. That was okay. I gave it a 3. And then we have The Lion Game. I'll be honest with you, I have no recollection about that whatsoever. I think it was about a group of friends. That is literally all I know. Then The Death of Mrs. Westaway. Again, I give this one a 3. It was okay. It was kind of like a gothic manner, and I think what's great about Ruth Ware is her settings are phenomenal. I will give her that. I love her settings. They are great, but it's just the execution and the twist I just don't love. Then we have Turn of the Key. This was like, it's like a lot of people's favorite Ruth Ware book. I did not like it. It's like a Turn of the Screw. Is that what it is? The retelling? I don't know. I didn't like it. And then the last one I read by her, the one that I was like, I'm good. One by One. I gave it a 2 out of 5. The setting was great. It was set like in a snowstorm in the Alps, and it was awesome, and I just did not enjoy it. She has since released 2 books since I've kind of hung my hat up on her, and I have no desire to read them, and that's just how it is, and that's totally okay. I just learned Ruth Ware is not for me. I think I really enjoy the premise of her books. The settings are excellent, but overall, the plot always seems to let me down. I don't really enjoy her characters. She is an author that's really known for writing a lot of unlikable characters, and I've said time and time again, I don't usually, for the most part, enjoy books like that. There are a few that I have read that I've loved where there's unlikable characters, but for the majority of the time, I've got to have a character to cling on to that I feel like has some decency, I guess, or some likability factor, and for her books, I haven't really found that. So yeah, Ruth Ware is probably my biggest one, I'd say, that I've read a lot of, that I've just really wanted to like. I really do, but I've just learned that it's just not for me, and that's okay. And again, if you like Ruth Ware, that's great. Next up, another really controversial one that a lot of people love is Colleen Hoover. Again, I have read 6 books by her. Colleen Hoover was very popular when I first started BookTube. She was kind of a smaller known author, like an indie author, I would say, and a lot of people were reading her books, hence why I read Maybe Someday. Couldn't tell you anything about it. Ugly Love was very, very big on BookTube. I read it. I thought it was okay. I don't know. And then she has the Never Never Novella series where she co-wrote with Taryn Fisher, I think, maybe. I actually did enjoy that. That was a good, like, novella series. And then Confess. Couldn't tell you what that was about at all. November 9 was, I think at the time I was like 5 out of 5, but looking back, like I've obviously changed my mind, and that happens as you go on with reading. That's just how your journey. You can do that in movies, whatever you want to do. But yeah, I think at the time I was like, I love November 9. Now I'm like, what? And then the last one I read with her was It Ends With Us, which was another very, very big one. I think she actually just wrote a sequel to it called It Starts With Us. But she was really big back, like I said, when I started BookTube, and she has since kind of resurged, if you will. TikTok has really like made her books really much more prominent. Like she has had a resurgence, which great for her. I'm happy for her, but her books are just not for me. And the main reason is I feel like her books are just kind of full of toxic relationships. I really do. I don't feel like the relationships are really good in them. I just don't jive well with that. I don't know. I don't like it. It kind of is almost in the vein of another book I read back in the day that I thought I loved. It was Beautiful Disaster by Jamie McGuire, which they're making into a movie, and I'm like, why? But it's just, I don't know. Colleen Hoover, I just don't enjoy her writing. I don't enjoy the kind of toxicity of relationships. I always feel like they're just really bad for each other, and really just, it's not a good thing, like them being in a relationship. I'm mainly thinking about It Ends With Us, November 9, and Ugly Love. Those are only 3 I can really remember. But I did buy Verity a while ago, but I've since unhauled it because I've just heard nothing but bad things, and I was like, I just probably shouldn't. I bought it because I thought, maybe since I don't like her romance, I will read her thriller, and I've heard a lot that it's just steam and no thrilling aspects to it, so I don't know. Colleen Hoover's a controversial one, probably the most on this list because people love her so much, and if you do, I'm happy for you. I'm glad you enjoy her books. I'm glad you get something out of them. That's awesome. Me, unfortunately, I do not, and that is okay. Speaking of the last probably like really controversial author I have is John Green. I know, John Green. John Green is a huge author. Like when I first started BookTube, he was very popular, and I fell under the John Green like kind of wave of Green, I don't know, but I have read 4 books of his. I have read Paper Towns, Looking for Alaska, Fault in Our Stars, and I did attempt to read Abundance of Catherine's, but DNF'd it, so I guess you could say I've only read 3 of his books, but I don't know. I read Fault in Our Stars, and I gave it a 5 out of 5 because everyone else was giving it a 5 out of 5, and everyone loved it so much, and I've yet to see the movie, don't plan to. I don't enjoy his writing, and that's my main thing with John Green. Like, I just don't enjoy his writing. I cannot connect with his writing. I just can't for some reason. I don't like his characters that much. I just can't get on, like, him. You know when you read some authors and you're like, this writing is 100% for me, I'm obsessed with it, and then you read some books, you're like, this writing style is just not for me. Much like movies. You can watch a movie and be like, this movie style is just not my style. That's how I feel with John Green books. He has, obviously he's successful, so don't take obviously this whole video, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, but I just don't drive well with his writing. I just don't connect with it. I don't really feel it. Like, a lot of people really love John Green and feels like his work gets into their soul. That's awesome. For me, I do not feel that way, and that's okay. So those are the 3 big authors that you're probably like, I hate you, Heather, and I just can't stand you. And to which I say, I get it, but I hope you understand, like, that when I say I'm happy that you like their books, I truly am happy that you like their books. I'm not the type of person that when you meet me, if you see me like wearing a Book Mom shirt, be like, I hate that book, I can't stand it. I'm not going to be like, well, I don't ever want to talk to you again. I'll be like, that's cool. Like, that's okay that you don't like it. That's awesome, That's okay, because that's exactly how I feel. Like, everyone's got different opinions, and that is okay. That's the main takeaway from this video, I want you to know. Next up, we have Hendrix and Sarah Peckinen, another like kind of thriller author duo that I think I'm good on. I have read 4 of their books. So the first one they released together is actually my favorite by them, The Wife Between Us. I really enjoyed it. It was a good plot twisty book. I liked it, but since then, the 3 books I've read by them, I have not liked whatsoever. An Honest Girl, I cannot tell you what that book is about at all. Then we have You Are Not Alone. Again, could not tell you what that book is about at all. And then their most recent one, which came out last year, I read it, You Are Not Alone, was so... I just, honestly, the writing style's good, but the plot twists are not so good. I don't enjoy them. I just feel like when I'm done with them, I'm always like, And that's just mainly my qualms with them. Like, I really enjoyed The Wife Between Us and will still want to be like one of the thrillers I would recommend. But other ones, no, like, I'm good. So that is an author duo that, like, I am sad about it because I want to like their books, but I just don't. I just don't. And that's okay. On to my last author I want to talk about is Jasmine Gilroy. So Jasmine Gilroy is a romance author that has written a lot of romance books, and I have read 4 of them. And the 4 that I have read are, the first one I read was her first one, The Proposal. Was that it? No, the first one I read, which was her first one, called The Wedding Date. Then The Proposal, and then Party of 2, and While We Were Dating. And I gave them all 3 out of 5. So you're like, why is she like not an author you read from anymore? It's because all of her books are kind of the same. Nothing ever really happens in them. Like, I could not tell you one single thing about one of these books, probably, other than The Wedding Date. I'm pretty sure that was like about a character going on a date with a wedding. That's about it. Her books mainly are about their romance, which is great, but it's mainly about 2 characters that meet. They get together, they eat food, and then steamy times, and that's literally it. And if you're thinking, that sounds amazing, great, read her books, and that's awesome for you. For me, I need some substance, you know, I need something to grab hold on, but I just felt like her books just don't have a lot going on in them, and at the end, I feel like after I read it, even after I finished it, I could not tell you a single thing about it. Like, there's no sort of recollection in me with that, so I think that's why. I mean, this is an author that maybe I'll read one of her books one day if it gets like amazing reviews and everyone's like, this is the book to read by her. I would consider reading it. So she's not like an author I'm like forever banning. None of these are. Like, maybe I'll read a book by them one day, but for right now, like, I'm okay. Let's go ahead and end this video because you're probably scathing at me right now. Yeah, but you know what? I wanted to be honest. I wanted to be transparent. I wanted to let you know, like, if you don't ever see me talking about these authors, this is why. And I just don't jive well with their books, and for, you know, many reasons I listed. And I hope at the end of this we could still be friends. We could still talk. If you love any of these authors, again, I am super happy for you. I'm glad you found one of your favorite books of all time by them. That makes me so happy for you. Don't hate me, please. Please. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.